Welcome back to another story that will pull at your heart and challenge your mind. Here, we dive deep into real emotions, raw confessions, and moments that change lives forever. So sit back, take a breath, and let's begin.
The truck's engine roared like a pissed-off bull as I slammed on the brakes, skidding to a stop on the cracked asphalt of Highway 54 just outside Guymon. Dust billowed up in thick clouds, tasting gritty on my tongue, mixing with the salty sweat dripping from my brow. It was mid-June 2010, and the Oklahoma Panhandle heat was merciless, the kind that made your skin feel like it was baking under a broiler, with the distant rumble of thunder promising a storm that might or might not deliver. My prosthetic leg ached from the drive, the socket rubbing raw against my stump, but I ignored it, heart pounding as I spotted Sam waving from the shoulder, his banjo case slung over one shoulder like some wandering troubadour. "Riley, over here!" he yelled, his voice cutting through the cicada's relentless buzz. I hopped out, the gravel crunching under my sneakers, and the scent of wild sage hit me hard, mingled with the faint, oily tang of his old Ford pickup that had apparently crapped out on him again. "What the hell happened this time?" I asked, wiping my hands on my cut-off jeans, feeling the rough denim stick to my palms. Sam grinned, that lopsided smile of his, the one that made his hazel eyes crinkle. But there was a nervousness there, like he was hiding something behind it. "Alternator, I think. Or maybe the battery. Dad's gonna kill me. Said I should taken the bus to the festival." He ran a hand through his messy brown hair, streaked with sun from all those afternoons sketching in the fields. Sam was 18, a year ahead of me in school, but he looked younger sometimes, especially when he was flustered. His family had moved here from Fort Sill 2 years back, his dad a retired Army sergeant who ran a tight ship, and Sam always seemed caught between rebelling and toeing the line. I popped the hood of his truck, the metal hot enough to singe my fingers if I wasn't careful. The engine ticked in the heat, and I could smell the burnt rubber from the belts. "Hand me that wrench from your toolbox," I said, pointing. As he leaned in to grab it, our arms brushed, sending a jolt through me, like static electricity, but warmer, lingering, on decay. I'd known Sam since he started at Guymon High, both of us outsiders in our way. Him the military brat, who drew comics instead of playing football, me the girl with the fake leg who spent nights stargazing on the roof instead of at parties. But lately, something had shifted. Or maybe it was always there, buried under the dust of this flatland. We'd met properly last summer at the Pioneer Days Festival, but that's jumping ahead, or back depending. Right now, with the sun dipping low, painting the horizon in oranges and pinks, we were racing to make it to the fairgrounds before the rodeo started. "You know, if we miss the barrel racing, my cousin's gonna disown me," I teased, tightening a bolt. The wind picked up, carrying the distant lowing of cattle from a nearby ranch, and I felt a drop of rain splatter on my arm, cool relief against the sticky humidity. Sam chuckled, low and easy. "Oh, sorry, 'bout that," he said when he bumped my elbow again, that Midwestern slip sneaking in even though he was from all over. His banjo case sat nearby, and I remembered the Route 66 keychain dangling from it, a cheap tin thing he'd picked up at a gas station in Amarillo during a family trip. It glinted in the fading light, shaped like a shield with historic Route 66 stamped on it. "Found this on the way back from basic training visits," he'd told me once. "Reminds me life's a road, you know? Full of detours." Yeah. As I got the truck sputtering to life, my mind raced. Why did being this close to him make my chest tighten, like I was about to chase a tornado? It was stupid. We were just friends, sharing sketches and star maps. But his laugh, the way he listened when I rambled about constellations, it felt like more. Contradictory as hell, excitement bubbling up, but fear too, that I'd ruin it by saying something dumb. We piled into my truck instead, leaving his for later. The cab smelled like hay from the bales I had hauled for the festival, and as we drove the radio crackled with country tunes, twangy guitars filling the silence. "Thanks for coming out," Sam said softly, staring at the dashboard. "Nobody else would have bothered." "Anytime," I muttered, gripping the wheel tighter, my prosthetic foot heavy on the pedal. The keychain swung from his rear view as we passed, a symbol of journeys, but right then, it just mocked me. All paths leading somewhere, but where? The fairgrounds loomed, lights twinkling against the darkening sky, the smell of funnel cakes and manure wafting in. We parked near the Tiger Stadium entrance, the crowd's chatter rising like a wave. My leg throbbed as we walked, but Sam's hand on my shoulder steadied me, warm and sure. Inside, the arena buzzed. Cowboys and chaps, kids with cotton candy sticky on their faces. The earthy scent of dirt kicked up by horses. We found seats on the bleachers, the metal cool under my thighs. Look at that! Sam pointed to a rider bursting from the gate, horse thundering around barrels. The crowd whooped, dust clouding the air, tasting chalky. My heart matched the rhythm, pounding as Sam's knee brushed mine. Accidental? Intentional? God, the confusion twisted in my gut, wanting to lean in but pulling back. Later, as fireworks cracked overhead, sharp bangs echoing, sulfur stinging my nose, we wandered the midway. He bought me a corn dog, grease dripping down my chin, and we laughed about nothing. But when his fingers grazed mine reaching for napkins, I froze. This was it, the spark of first love, raw and terrifying in the Panhandle night. That night stretched, time bending as we talked till dawn in my truck, parked by Black Mesa. Stars wheeled above, crisp and infinite, the chill air nipping at our skin. Sam played his banjo softly, notes plucking like heartstrings, and I traced Orion's belt, my voice shaky. Ever feel like the universe is too big, and we're just specks? He set the banjo down, the keychain clinking. Yeah, but specks can collide, right? Make something bright. His words hung heavy with subtext. I wanted to kiss him then, but doubt won. What if he didn't feel it? Relief and regret mingled as I drove him home, the dawn light filtering through dust on the windshield. 3 weeks after that festival night, I was knee-deep in the wheat fields off Quinn Road, the golden stalks swaying in the hot July wind like an ocean of fire. The air shimmered with heat, carrying the sweet, earthy smell of ripening grain, and my sneakers sank into the soft soil, each step a reminder of my prosthetic's unyielding stiffness. Sweat trickled down my back, soaking my tank top, and the distant hum of combines droned like angry bees. Sam had dragged me out here for inspiration, he said, his sketchpad under one arm, banjo forgotten in his truck. See? Perfect light for drawing, he enthused, dropping to the ground cross-legged. His shirt clung to him, damp, and I caught the faint scent of his soap, clean, like fresh laundry mixed with the outdoors. I sat beside him, our shoulders touching, the contact sending that familiar zing through me. But now, after the festival, everything felt amplified, charged. I replayed his words about specks colliding 100 times, my stomach flipping each time, hope surging, but anxiety clawing it back. We'd been hanging out more, him showing up at my job at the Guymon library, where I'd shelve books and sneak reads on astrophysics. Borrowed this for you, I'd say, handing him a comic anthology, our fingers lingering. Subtext thick as the humidity. Now, as he sketched the horizon, pencil scratching paper, I pulled out my star chart app on my phone, signal spotty out here. Tornado watch later, I noted, the app's beep piercing the quiet. The sky bruised purple in the west, thunder growling low. Sam glanced up, eyes meeting mine. Scared. Nah, excited. Chased one last year with my uncle. Wind howlin', rain lushin' like needles. My leg itched phantom-like, a ghost pain from the accident that took it when I was 10, car wreck on I-40. But I pushed it down, focusing on the way Sam's hair curled at his nape. He set the pencil down. You're tough, Riley. Most girls, hell, most people wouldn't chase storms with a... He trailed off, gesturing vaguely at my leg. I stiffened, contradictory emotions crashing, flattered he noticed, but irked at the pity undertone. It's just a leg, Sam. Doesn't define me. To prove it, I stood, dusting off dirt that clung like burrs. Sorry, didn't mean... He started, but I interrupted with a laugh, forced but real enough. Forget it. Race you to the truck? We bolted, laughter echoing, my gait uneven but determined. He let me win, I think, his hand catching mine at the finish. Warm, callous from banjo strings. We collapsed against the tailgate, breathless, the metal hot under our palms. As clouds gathered, we drove to Palo Duro Canyon for shelter. Wait, no, that's Texas. Closer was Optima Lake, dry as bone that year. We parked there, the empty reservoir a vast bowl of cracked earth, smelling musty like old rain. Rain started pattering, then pouring, drumming on the roof like fingers tapping impatience. Inside the cab, steam fogged the windows, our breaths mingling. Sam fiddled with the radio, static crackling before landing on an oldies station, Johnny Cash's gravelly voice singing about rings of fire. Fitting, with the heat between us. Tell me about your art, I said, turning to him. Water streamed down the glass, blurring the world. He shrugged. It's escape. Dad wants me in the army, but I want to draw stories, you know? Like graphic novels about everyday heroes. New one. Like us. I teased, but my voice caught. His eyes locked on mine, intense. Yeah, like you, chasing stars, not letting anything hold you back. The air thickened, charged. He leaned in, hesitant, and our lips met, soft at first, then urgent. Taste of salt from sweat, smell of rain-soaked earth outside, his hand on my cheek warm against the chill seeping in. My heart soared and plummeted, joy exploding, but fear whispering, this was too good too soon. We pulled back, grinning like idiots. Wow, he murmured. Yeah. But inside, turmoil. What if his family moved again? Relief at finally crossing the line, guilt for not saying I'd felt this for months. That kiss opened the floodgate. The next days blurred, stolen moments at the Hitch and Post Diner on Main Street, sharing fries greasy and hot, ketchup smearing napkins. I all want refills? The waitress asked, her Oklahoma drawl thick. Sam's keychain lay on the table, forgotten from his pocket. I picked it up, twirling it. This thing's seen more miles than us. Not yet, he said, eyes twinkling. It had become our talisman, symbol of beginnings, roads unexplored. But as August loomed, school starting, his dad pressuring enlistment papers, cracks showed. I don't know if I can stay, he confessed one night under the stars at Black Mesa State Park, the Milky Way a river above, cool grass tickling our backs, coyotes yipping distant. My gut twisted, love blooming. But shadows of loss creeping. Contradictory, clinging tighter yet bracing for goodbye. 8 months later, in the crisp February air of 2011, I stood on the platform at the Amtrak station in Oklahoma City. Guymon didn't have one, so we'd driven the 3 hours south. Snow flurries danced like confetti, stinging my cheeks, and the metallic scent of train brakes hung heavy. My prosthetic felt heavier in the cold, joints stiff, but the ache in my chest was worse. Sam was leaving for basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia, his dad's insistence winning out. We'd packed the months with firsts. Our first real date at the No Man's Land Museum in Goodwell, wandering exhibits on Dust Bowl survivors, the dry air smelling of old paper and history. His hand in mine, warm against the chill inside. This is us, he'd said, pointing to a photo of migrants on Route 66. Heading somewhere better. The keychain had evolved, now clipped to my backpack, a promise had returned. Keep it safe, he'd said, kissing me goodbye that morning. But now, as the train whistled approach, echoing sharp, my emotions warred. Proud of him, but betrayed by circumstance. Relief he'd chosen a path, guilt for wishing he'd fight harder to stay. Promise you'll write, I said, voice muffled against his jacket, smelling of wool and his cologne. Every day, he replied, but his eyes darted, subtext screaming uncertainty. The platform buzzed with families, kids waving flags, the cold biting through my boots. As the train pulled in, steam hissing, we hugged fierce. Love you, Riley. Love you too. First time saying it aloud, bittersweet on my tongue. He boarded, window seat, waving as it chugged away. I drove back alone, tears blurring. I-40. The flatlands endless under gray skies. Spring thawed the ground, mud sucking at tires on farm roads. I threw myself into senior year astronomy club at school, mapping comets on clear nights. The air warmed, carrying blooming wildflowers, sweet perfume, birds chirping dawn choruses. Letters came sporadically, boot camp tales, sketches enclosed. Missed the Panhandle wines, he'd write. I'd reply with star updates enclosing pressed flowers. By May, prom at the Guymon Community Building. VFW Hall vibe. with crepe paper streamers and punch spiked secretly. I went with friends but danced alone, imagining Sam. The gym smelled of sweat and cheap perfume, country music thumping bass through speakers. Summer hit like a freight train, heat waves rippling off asphalt on Tiger Boulevard. I got a job at the local observatory, tiny thing near Boise City, guiding tours, the dome creaking open to reveal velvet skies. Cool metal of telescopes under fingers, starlight prickling eyes. Sam's letters slowed. Training's intense, one said. Worry, nod. Was distance eroding us? Then a surprise visit in July. He had leave. We road-tripped Route 66 west to Amarillo, top down in my truck, wind-whipping hair tasting freedom. Stopped at Cadillac Ranch, spray painting our initials on buried cars, paint fumes sharp, colors vivid under sun. Nothing's changed, he said at a motel, sheets crisp, his arms around me. But it had. His stories edgier, body leaner. Intimacy deepened but shadows lingered, joy in reunion, fear of next goodbye. The keychain, now worn, dangled from the mirror, symbol of enduring paths, but fraying. 2 years after Sam's departure, in the sweltering August of 2013, I graduated college in Norman, astronomy program, and returned to Guymon for a breather. The town felt smaller. Main Street's brick facades faded, the scent of barbecue from Hitchin Post wafting perpetual. My apartment above a feed store smelled of hay and dust, fan whirring against humidity. Sam was stationed in California now, post-training deployments keeping him away. Our love had stretched thin over Skype calls, pixelated faces, lag interrupting confessions. Miss you like crazy, he'd say, but subtext hinted at strains. I'd dated casually, a guy from class, but it fizzled. Contradictory, loyal to Sam, yet lonely. Then he surprised me with a visit. We met at Black Mesa, hiking trails, boots crunching gravel, sagebrush scratching legs. Sweat beaded, sun baking earth that cracked underfoot. At the summit, overlooking canyons, wind howling, he pulled out the keychain. I'd mailed it back during a fight. This brought me home, he said. We picnicked, cheese melting in heat, bread crusty. Talk turned serious. Thinking of re-enlisting, he admitted. My heart sank, understanding his duty, resenting it. What about us? We'll make it work. But doubt crept. Nights blurred, drives to Optima, stargazing, his banjo plucking melodies. One storm-chased evening, thunder booming, rain lashing, we sheltered in the truck, passion igniting, taste of lightning on lips, hands exploring. But arguments flared. You don't get it, he'd snap during one, about military life. I try. Hurt and anger mixed. By visit's end at the airport in Liberal, Kansas, closest one, the goodbye tour, love fierce, future uncertain. The keychain stayed with me, now a reminder of forks in the road. Fall brought wildfires nearby, smoke acrid, skies hazy. I started a job at a planetarium in Tulsa, moving east. City life. Traffic honking on Peoria Avenue, rivers muddy scent. Sam's calls rarefied. Deploying soon, he said finally. Worry consumed, pride in him, terror for safety. 5 years from that first kiss, in the mild spring of 2015, I was back in Guymon for a family reunion, the Panhandle blooming with wildflowers, their honeyed scent carried on breezes. I'd built a life in Tulsa, planetarium curator, friends, even dated seriously once, but it ended. Sam and I? Faded to occasional texts, love a nostalgic echo. He was out now, civilian life in Denver, art school. Come visit, he messaged. I did, driving I-25, mountains rising, air thinning crisp. Denver streets bustled, Colfax Avenue's neon buzzing, craft beer tangy on tongues. We met at a jazz club in 5 Points, saxophones wailing sultry, smoke hazy, even post-band lingering. His hug familiar, but changed, broader shoulders, eyes wearier. Over drinks, stories flowed, his deployments, my discoveries. Laughter easy, but subtext wistful. We wandered to Washington Park, grass soft underfoot, lake rippling. Remember the keychain? I asked, pulling the battered thing from my pocket. He smiled. Our road. We talked all night, contradictory emotions swirling, rekindled spark, acceptance it was past. No grand reunion, just cathartic closure, love's first blush fondly remembered, paths divert. As I drove home, keychain on dash, it symbolized not loss, but growth. Routes taken, lessons it set. Nostalgic, unresolved, but peaceful.
Every story leaves its mark, and this one is no different. If it touched you, made you think, or stirred something inside, don't forget to subscribe and join us for more. Until next time, take care of your heart.